And we're back. We're back for reading corner. I told you I'd be right back. I feel so much better after talking with you guys. I really did have a bit of a stressful night. All self-induced, by the way. Let me tell you that. It wasn't anybody else's fault, I'll tell you that. I should have done better tonight. And I will in the future. That's all I can try to do. So, got a nice crispy ginger ale. Love that crispy ginger ale. Alright, let's move it on over and turn out this light behind me. Bring the ginger ale. Leave my water mug for now. That'll come upstairs with me later. Actually, let's set our candle down first. It's precarious. I don't want the wicks to drown in that wax. Alright, now let's turn off the corner light, because that's what really gets us ready for the reading corners. Boom, that corner light. That's what does it. Look at that. Our little reading corner lit up with our beautiful cherry blossoms and our soft, fluffy, soft, fluffy blanket. And our lovely, soft, velvety pillow. Whew. Feels good to have a seat. Not that I wasn't just sitting over there, but you know what I mean. This is reading corner. It's different. It's cozier over here. Oh, I forgot to take out my little tabletop. And I will do a video just unscrewing this and screwing it back in. I cannot forgive me, I cannot remember the name or screen name of the person who commented this, but they said that was like unexpected, like surprise trigger, and I can see that 100%. I love it when people catch things like that, because it's so different when you're listening rather than creating. I can think of so many ASMR videos. I listen to a lot of unintentional ASMR, which I think is the best kind, which kind of is what I do. It's not intentional, just sitting with triggers in front of a camera. It's meant to be more unintentional in the way that I just talk to you guys. And I think I've said this before here, but I had a teacher that used to read to us. My mother praying with me and reading me to sleep was my first trigger, but it always had to do with reading. And I remember in 4th grade, shout outs to Miss Freckling. She was awesome. And she used to read to us if we had extra time at the end of the day. And her voice was so calming. And I would sit there and it would feel like someone was just tapping up my neck. And all the hairs on the back of my neck would stand up. And I would get tingles and just, I could have fallen asleep right there in the classroom. Sometimes I fell asleep on the bus afterwards, but we don't need to get into me falling asleep on school buses. It's back when I was really young, I did fall asleep on a school bus after I was in 1st grade, and the bus driver did not see me or hear me, and they took me back to the bus yard, and my parents freaked out. They had no idea I was even in the bus. I just didn't get off the bus one day, and they actually found me sleeping in the back of a school bus in the bus yard in New York, if you could believe that. I've got a lot of weird stories like that. Where, okay, so sorry. We're not here to talk about my wayward youth. We're here to read Matilda, so let's get to it. Alright, so we did Miss Honey and the Trunchbull last night. And tonight it's the parents. And maybe we'll do 2 chapters, it just depends. I can't make any promises tonight, but we'll try, my friends. We will try. Okay, are you ready? Are your lights out? They are. Did you get your pillow and blanket? You did? Are you snuggled? Snuggle up. Okay, you're ready? Okay. The parents. When Miss Honey emerged from the headmistress's study, most of the children were outside in the playground. Her first move was to go around to the various teachers who had taught the senior class and borrow from them a number of textbooks, books on algebra, geometry, French, English literature, and the like. Then she sought out Matilda and called her into the classroom. There is no point, she said, in you sitting in the class doing nothing while I'm teaching the rest of the form, the 2 times table, and how to spell cat and rat and mouse. So, during each lesson, I shall give you one of these textbooks to study. At the end of the lesson, you can come up to me with your questions, if you have any, and I shall try to help you. How does that sound? Thank you, Miss Honey, Matilda said. That sounds fine. I am sure, Miss Honey said, that we'll be able to get you moved into a much higher form later on. But for the moment, the headmistress wishes you to stay where you are. Very well, Miss Honey, Matilda said. Thank you so much for getting these books for me. What a nice child she is, Miss Honey thought. I don't care what her father says about her. She seems very quiet and gentle to me, and not a bit stuck up in spite of her brilliance. In fact, she hardly seems aware of it. So, when the class reassembled, Matilda went to her desk and began to study a textbook on geometry, which Miss Honey had given her. The teacher kept half an eye on her all the time and noticed that the child very soon became deeply absorbed in the book. She never glanced up once during the entire lesson. Miss Honey, meanwhile, was making another decision. She was deciding that she would go herself and have a secret talk with Matilda's mother and father as soon as possible. She simply refused to let the matter rest where it was. The whole thing was ridiculous. She couldn't believe that the parents were totally unaware of their daughter's remarkable talents. After all, Mr. Wormwood was a successful motor car dealer, so she presumed that he was a fairly intelligent man himself. Ha ha ha. In any event, parents never underestimated the abilities of their own child. Quite the reverse. Sometimes it was well nigh impossible for a teacher to convince the proud father or mother that their beloved offspring was a complete nitwit. I love how second to none, man. Love it. Miss Honey felt confident that she would have no difficulty in convincing Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood that Matilda was something very special indeed. The trouble was going to be to stop them from getting over-enthusiastic. And now Miss Honey's hopes began to expand even further. She started wondering whether permission might not be sought from the parents for her to give private tuition to Matilda after school. The prospect of coaching a child as bright as this appealed enormously to her professional instinct as a teacher. And suddenly she decided she would go and call on Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood that very evening. She would go fairly late, between 9 and 10 o'clock, when Matilda was sure to be in bed. And that is precisely what she did. Having got the address from the school records, Miss Honey set out to walk from her own home to the Wormwoods' house shortly after 9. She found the house in a pleasant street where each smallish building was separated from its neighbors by a bit of garden. It was a modern brick house that could not have been cheap to buy, and the name on the gate said Cozy Nook. Nosy Cook might have been better, Miss Honey thought. She was given to playing with words in that way. She walked up the path and rang the bell, and while she stood waiting, she could hear the television blaring inside. The door was opened by a small, ratty-looking man with a thin, ratty mustache who was wearing a sports coat that had an orange and red stripe in the material. "Yes," he said, peering out at Miss Honey. "If you're selling raffle tickets, I don't want any." "I'm not," Miss Honey said, "and please forgive me for butting in on you like this. I am Matilda's teacher at school, and it is important I have a word with you and your wife." "Got into trouble already, has she?" Mr. Wormwood said, blocking the doorway. "Well, she's your responsibility from now on. You'll have to deal with her." Huh. "She's in no trouble at all," Miss Honey said. "I have come with good news about her. Quite startling news, Mr. Wormwood. Do you think I might come in for a few minutes and talk to you about Matilda? We are right in the middle of watching one of our favorite programs," Mr. Wormwood said. "This is most inconvenient. Why don't you come back some other time?" Miss Honey began to lose patience. "Mr. Wormwood," she said, "if you think some rotten TV program is more important than your daughter's future, then you ought not be a parent. Why don't you switch the darn thing off and listen to me?" That shook Mr. Wormwood. He was not used to being spoken to in this way. He peered carefully at the slim, frail woman who stood so resolutely out on the porch. "Oh, very well then," he snapped. "Come in and let's get it over with." Miss Honey stepped briskly inside. "Mrs. Wormwood isn't going to thank you for this," the man said as he led her into the sitting room, where a large platinum blonde woman was gazing rapturously at the TV screen. "Who is it?" the woman said, not looking around. "Some school teacher," Mr. Wormwood said. "She says she's got to talk to us about Matilda." He crossed to the TV set and turned down the sound but left the picture on the screen. "Don't do that, Harry," Mrs. Wormwood cried. "Willard is just about to propose to Angelica." "You can still watch it while we're talking," Mr. Wormwood said. "This is Matilda's teacher. She says she's got some sort of news to give us." "My name is Jennifer Honey," Miss Honey said. "How do you do, Mrs. Wormwood?" Mrs. Wormwood glared at her and said, "What's the trouble, then?" Nobody invited Miss Honey to sit down, so she chose a chair and sat anyway. "This," she said, "was your daughter's first day at school." "We know that," Mrs. Wormwood said, ratty about missing her program. "Is that all you came to tell us?" Miss Honey stared hard into the other woman's wet gray eyes, and she allowed the silence to hang in the air until Mrs. Wormwood became uncomfortable. "Do you wish me to explain why I came?" she said. "Get on with it, then," Mrs. Wormwood said. "I'm sure you know," Miss Honey said, "that children in the bottom class of school are not expected to be able to read or spell or juggle with numbers when they first arrive. 5-year-olds cannot do that, but Matilda can do it all. And if I am to believe her—" "I wouldn't," Mrs. Wormwood said. She was still ratty at losing the sound on the TV. "Was she lying then," Miss Honey said, "when she told me that nobody taught her to multiply or read? Did either of you teach her? Teach her what? Mr. Wormwood said. To read. To read books, Miss Honey said. Perhaps you did teach her. Perhaps she was lying. Perhaps you have shelves full of books all over the house. I wouldn't know. Perhaps you are both great readers. Of course we read, Mr. Wormwood said. Don't be so daft. I read the autocar and the motor from cover to cover every week. This child has already read an astonishing number of books, Miss Honey said. I was simply trying to find out if she came from a family that loved good literature. We don't hold with book reading, Mr. Wormwood said. You can't make a living from sitting on your fanny and reading storybooks. We don't keep them in the house. I see, Miss Honey said. Well, all I came to tell you was that Matilda has a brilliant mind. But I expect you know that already. Of course I knew she could read, the mother said. She spends her life up in her room, buried in some silly book. But it does not intrigue you, Miss Honey said. But does it not intrigue you, Miss Honey said, that a little 5-year-old child is reading long adult novels by Dickens and Hemingway? Doesn't that make you jump up and down with excitement? Not particularly, the mother said. I'm not in favor of blue stocking girls. A girl should think about making herself look attractive so she can get a good husband later on. Looks is more important than books, Miss Hunky. The name is Honey, Miss Honey said. Now you look at me, Mrs. Wormwood said. Then look at you. You chose books. I chose looks. Miss Honey looked at the plain, plump person with the smug suet pudding face who was sitting across the room. What did you say? She asked. I said you chose books and I chose looks, Mrs. Wormwood said. And who's finished up the better off? Me, of course. I'm sitting pretty in a nice house with a successful businessman, and you're left slaving away, teaching a lot of nasty little children the ABC. Quite right, Sugarplum, Mr. Wormwood said, casting a look of such simpering sloppiness at his wife it could have made a cat sick. Miss Honey decided that if she was going to get anywhere with these people, she must not lose her temper. I haven't told you all of it yet, she said. Matilda, so far as I can gather at this early stage, is also a kind of mathematical genius. She can multiply complicated figures in her head like lightning. What's the point of that when you can buy a calculator? Mr. Wormwood said. A girl doesn't get a man by being brainy, Mrs. Wormwood said. Look at that film star, for instance, she said, pointing at the silent TV screen where a bosomy female was being embraced by a craggy actor in the moonlight. You don't think she got him to do that by multiplying figures at him, do you? Not likely. And now he's going to marry her, you see if he doesn't, and she's going to live in a mansion with a butler and lots of maids. Miss Honey could hardly believe what she was hearing. She had heard that parents like this existed all over the place, and that their children turned out to be delinquents and dropouts, but it was still a shock to meet a pair of them in the flesh. Matilda's trouble, she said, trying once again, is that she is so far ahead of everyone else around her that it might be worth thinking about some extra kind of private tuition. I seriously believe that she could be brought up to university standard in 2 or 3 years with a proper coaching. University, Mr. Wormwood shouted, bouncing up in his chair. Who wants to go to university, for heaven's sake? All they learn there is bad habits. That is not true, Miss Honey said. If you had a heart attack this minute and had to call a doctor, that doctor would be a university graduate. If you had got sued for selling someone a rotten second-hand car, you'd have to get a lawyer, and he'd be a university graduate too. Do not despise clever people, Mr. Wormwood. But I can see we're not going to agree. I'm sorry I burst in on you like this. Miss Honey rose from her chair and walked out of the room. Mr. Wormwood followed her to the front door and said, "Good of you to come, Miss Hawks, or is it Miss Harris?" "It's neither," Miss Honey said, "but let it go." And away she went. Throwing the hammer. Let's have a look. This is a good chapter, but we'll wait for it since it's, unless I miss something, is a longer chapter. There's a decent amount of illustration. It is a longer chapter, so we'll wait till tomorrow to do throwing the hammer. I know this part. And so that was the parents. So now we've been through all of the adults, their various good and bad qualities. Then we'll pick up again with throwing the hammer tomorrow. Alright, so let's move on to where the sidewalk ends. Oh, where did we live? Again, I look at all the flagged pages I have from my favorite poems. We did for sale. 1 inch tall. I love that. That was lovely. I'm gonna have to mark that. Oh, I had it marked at one point, it looks like. Ooh, this is a good one too. Okay, so we'll pick up with Enter This Deserted House. There it is, the deserted house. Enter this deserted house, but please walk softly as you do. Frogs dwell here, and crickets too. Ain't no ceiling, only blue. Jays dwell here, and sunbeams too. Floors or flowers, take a few. Ferns grow here, and daisies too. Whoosh swoosh, to wit, to woo. Bats dwell here, and hoot owls too. Ha ha ha, he, hoo hoo hoo. Gnomes dwell here, and goblins too. And my child, I thought you knew, I dwell here, and so do you. Ain't no ceiling, only blue. Jays dwell here, and sunbeams too. Beautiful. See, some of them are strange, but others are so lovely. Sick. Sick. I cannot go to school today, said little Peggy Ann McKay, I have the measles and the mumps, a gnash, a rash, a gash, a rash, and purple bumps. My mouth is wet, my throat is dry, I'm going blind in my right eye. My tonsils are as big as rocks, I've counted 16 chicken pox, and there's one more, that's 17. And don't you think my face looks green? My leg is cut, my eyes are blue. It might be the instamatic flu. I cough and sneeze and gasp and choke. I'm sure that my left leg is broke. My hip hurts when I move my chin. My belly button's caving in. My back is wrenched, my ankle sprained. My appendix pains each time it rains. My nose is cold, my toes are numb. I have a sliver in my thumb. My neck is stiff, my voice is weak. I hardly whisper when I speak. My tongue is filling up my mouth. I think my hair is falling out. My elbows bent, my spine ain't straight. My temperature is 108. My brain is shrunk, I cannot hear. There is a hole inside my ear. I have hangnail and my heart is... What? What's that? What's that you say? You say today is Saturday? Goodbye, I'm going out to play, says every child. Upstairs. Illustration. Upstairs. There's a family of wrens who live upstairs. Upstairs, upstairs, upstairs. Inside my hat, all cozy in. My hair, my hair, my hair. I've moved a dozen times and still they're there, they're there, they're there. I'd like to get away from them, but where, but where, but where? This hat just isn't big enough to share, to share, to share. But now I see you're bored, and you don't care, don't care, don't care about the wrens who live inside my hair, my hair, my hair. Ah, the garden. Quick break for a sip of ginger ale. Please pardon me. Okay. The garden. Old Man Simon planted a diamond, grew hisself a garden like the likes of none. Sprouts all are growing, coming up glowing, fruit of jewels all shining in the sun. Colors of the rainbow, see the sun and rain grow. Sapphires and rubies on ivory vines, grapes of jade, just ripened at the shade, just ready for the squeeze into green jade wine. Pure gold corn there, blowing in the warm air. Old Crow nibbling on the amethyst seeds. In between the diamonds, Old Man Simon crawls about, pulling out platinum weeds. Pink pearl berries, all you can carry. Put 'em in a bushel and haul 'em into town. Up in the tree, there's opal nuts and gold pears. Hurry quick, grab a stick and shake some down. Take a silver tater, emerald tomato, flesh plump coral melons hanging in reach. Old Man Simon, digging in his diamonds, stops and rests and dreams about one real peach. I love the visual of a gold, platinum, and jewel-studded garden. And then you get to the bottom, and that real peach sounds good. This started out as a jumping rope. You probably think that I'm a dope. But this started out as a jumping rope, and now I fear there is no hope. But this started out as a jumping rope. Who can kick a football from here out to Afghanistan? I can. Who fought tigers in the street while all the policemen ran and hid? I did. Who will fly and have X-ray eyes and be known as the man no bullet can kill? I will. Who can sit and tell lies all night? I might. Ridiculous Rose. Her mama said, "Don't eat with your fingers." Okay, said Ridiculous Rose. So she ate with her toes. Oh, here it is. And maybe, let's see. Snowman is next. Does Snowman go to the next page? They left. Oh, the crocodile is toothache. That was a good one, too. I think we're almost at a half hour, so I think I will end with this one because it's one of my absolute favorites. It is the title poem, Where the Sidewalk Ends. So let's do it, my friends. Where the sidewalk ends. There is a place where the sidewalk ends, and before the street begins. And there the grass grows soft and white, and there the sun burns crimson bright, and there the moonbird rests from his flight to cool the peppermint wind. Let us leave this place where the smoke blows black, and the dark street winds and bends, past the pits where the asphalt flowers grow. We shall walk with a walk that is measured and slow, and watch where the chalk white arrows go, to the place where the sidewalk ends. Yes, we'll walk with a walk that is measured and slow, and we'll go where the chalk white arrows go, for the children they mark, and the children they know, the place where the sidewalk ends. And that will do it for me tonight, guys. We'll pick up with Snowman tomorrow. Another flag in the book. Thank you guys so much for being here with me tonight. And again for listening to my rambling words. I hope you enjoyed. I always do. And I pray for you now in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, that everybody has a solid, wonderful night's sleep, that the dreamers dream, or if you just need some solid sleep, I hope you get that too. And I pray for a wonderful midweek for you heading into Wednesday. I hope that you have a wonderful day at work with your kids, or if you have a day off, I hope you just get to relax. I pray for your safety. I pray for your comfort. I pray for your confidence, wisdom, courageousness. I pray that you are at peace, and that if you're not, that you look up. Look up. Close your eyes, or bow your head in prayer. I pray that you look to the Lord in those moments and try to thoroughly enjoy all the other ones. God bless all of you. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Good night, friends. I'll see you